Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we finished the 5th and 6th missions of the 6th stage of the invasion, and now we continue with the 7th and 8th.
Intelligence assets report several vulnerable cogitator stations in the area. Exact locations unknown. Tech priests predict moderate hostile presence.
Yeah, it seems to be that the game is just putting higher and higher levels on things. I think, like I said before, I think this is meant to be just more difficult. Which is fine, you know. Creating challenge and what have you. Just kind of sucks when I take 150% damage off of everything. Oh, and it's Void Rippers, of course, so these guys are crackheads who love getting into melee. Just means I have to use my minds a bit more. Be proactive on healing, and hopefully this does enough damage. Come on, one of you guys I thought was low. Or not low enough. Oh, I thought this was a war zone. I didn't realize it was data collection. Hate these missions. Oh my god, does he have... I hope I misread that health amount. $146,000 HP. And I can only do so much. You know what? I'm just gonna go in, do that, and hopefully this stacks a lot of damage because they have like 40% physical resist, but nothing for heat. Yep, I knew it. I knew that trick would work. I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do here. Slow him down and then just... Well, I was gonna say blaze it, but... You know what? Yeah, slow him down and blaze it. We're only a few weeks out now from Total War Warhammer 3. I'm excited for that. I'm not picking it up at launch, though. I always just wait for sales. I mean, I waited until we were left with 2 DLC for Warhammer 2 before I considered picking the game up. And even then I bought those 2 DLC, whoa, low health, at launch because they were good. I mean, I was waiting for Torox the Brass Bull, and I was also waiting for Throt the Unclean. So it panned out that they happened to be ones I was really interested in. But I'm excited for it. I think it'll be cool. Can't wait to see Chaos Dwarves eventually. It kind of makes sense when I think about it that there's only like 3 main factions coming out at launch. The Chaos Demons, Cathay, and then pre-order bonus of... Actually, no, there's 4 because there's also Kislev, but then pre-order bonus of Ogre Kingdoms. It makes sense, you know. You can't have everybody come out at launch, you gotta have something for DLC, plus there's the fact that when you look at it, Chaos is essentially 4 armies and 4 factions rolled into one name. So I can't sit there and be like, oh, it's not as much as other stuff. Nah, it's completely balanced. It makes sense. no sense in getting all bum bruised over it when it's within their, you know, usual shtick. I'm just really hoping for Nippon. That'd be real cool of them if they were like, hey, yeah, we're gonna add them. Because I'd love for Warhammer 3 to kind of be like, here's a bunch of armies who never got proper material. Because then they could do Ind. But I was thinking about that mostly because I was sitting down playing Warhammer. I was playing as Luther Harkin. And my brother was like, oh, what are you doing? And I was talking to him and I said, yeah, I'm playing Warhammer, and said, yeah, I tend to always play Vampire Coast because they're just so good and so easy. I mean, with the shipbuilding for a lot of the guys, you can easily power yourself up. All their range guys have armor piercing, and honestly, you just build armor piercing because then everybody who's armored loses. But then he's like, well, why don't you play, if you play the easiest guys, why don't you play the toughest? And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll do that. I've played the toughest before. It's Skarsnik. Fired up Skarsnik. As far as I am right now, I'm doing fine. At the start, I remember why I hated playing as him. Only goblins. Goblins suck. The closest guys you're going to be fighting are dwarves, who are armored, so they're hard countering you every step of the way. And then, on top of all that, is the fact that like you're in a bad position. No one likes you around where you are. It's terrible. I managed to say screw it, got into a war with not the Empire, but some sub-faction of the Empire, swiped their lands. I think it might have been Talabecland? No, maybe Sterling? Whoever owns Nuln. I took that, carved out that area, got a bunch of cheap-ass armies. I'm talking, these are just goblins.
Extraction complete. The harvested data is
Hunted for heroes that gave me goblin cost reduction.
Locate next station.
Got them shoved into all the armies just to make them dirt cheap. And then I just started balling out of control, just ambushing the dwarves and everything. What sucks too is I had a full stack fighting against, it's not Thorgrim. It's... what's his nuts? The stupid dwarves in the south, in like the southern kingdoms, or southern realms. Sat there, I would ambush him, successful ambush, successful underway interceptions, and the game would, if you look at the auto results, you're like, nah, you're gonna die. I had 2 armies attack this one army, and the game would still be like, you know, you're gonna die horribly in this. I'm like, are you kidding? The dwarves can't be that good. I probably said screw it, I'll manually fight it. Didn't lose a single stack, balled out of control, managed to win, and from there I'd snowballed into the Empire and, whoa. That was peculiar. But so I've managed to push them out of that area, and it's so rough. I'm trying to build up so that I can get, like, rogue idols and really heavy tier stuff like that can be kind of a backbone to my army while I rely on goblins. Night goblins aren't bad, they're just crap. I'm just glad the Wood Elves declared war on me like they always do, but instead of actually doing anything about it, they were just like, we don't like you, declare war, and then they just sat in the woods. It's like, that's fine, you can stay in the woods. You can keep your goofy bark-covered ass in there for all eternity. You know, I'm fine. I'm just, at this point, I'm trying to swipe up land where I can, and then I'm gonna find Grimgor Ironhide, because he's balling out of control, taking everything, #1 faction, all that fun stuff. So what I'm going to do is get close to him because of how their confederation works. If you kill their lord, you get the whole army, or you can confederate with them. So I'm just going to try to single him out and then just jump him. Oh wow, I just died to that mine. Is he leeching health off me? I swear he was leeching health.
Reloading.
Oh my god, the damage. Yeah. Unless there's no actual cover there, in which case I can't hide there. I need to bait him further on in. I'll just hide and do this, even though I'm just watching my health drain. My cover is gonna drop soon. But at least I've been dealing damage, that's the important part here. But yeah, playing Skarsnik is just... I don't even have a cheese strat. Which is kind of the worst part. I don't have any tricks I can pull to get anywhere. I'm still trying to build siege equipment. Starting in only a 4-slot settlement is just a kick in the teeth. Because I can't do anything. It's like, oh, do you want to build this military building? I'm like, yeah, I can use these guys. You need level 4 to unlock these useful units. I'm like, oh, great. Or you have the restriction of you can't get orcs until you get Carrick 8 peaks, which is now under the control of Grimgor. So I have to fight Grimgor at some point, or hope someone just, you know, loses their mind and goes on a killing spree, but that's not going to happen. God, it just reminds me of when I stupidly was playing as,
Point of entry established. Harvesting data from
what's his name?
Network.
From the Empire,
Hostile
Magic
units
Man.
Inbound.
Balthazar Gelt. And me, in my infinite stupidity, just sat in Empire lands, trying to, like, slowly claim some stuff, and mostly I spent way too much time fighting vampires. Barely even claiming the land from them, just duking it out against them. That by the time Chaos came, we beat Chaos, I beat the vampires, and Grimgor just came and sucker punched me and stole everything. I wasted way too much time. I should have... Next time I play him, I have to just say forget it, push south, let the Empire do what the Empire is going to do in their infinite stupidity and squabbling, and just pound on everybody else. Try to get some confederations where I can, but for the most part just focus on keeping myself alive and expanding into the orc lands just to keep them busy. I need to disengage. What sucks too is I play on normal difficulty, and difficulty makes such a massive difference in how you play. Like before they patched Torox, one of the big things was you could chain his abilities real easy to get a bunch of kills and get stacks and just ball out of control early on. People were taking like almost all of Ulthuan in like 10 turns because they could just get so many fights and so much replenishment and so much turn meter. But they fixed that, so you can't do that crap anymore. You have a pretty finite limit. But it only really worked on super high difficulties. because there were so many enemy armies. Even if they were crap half-full stacks, they would just pump them out because the AI would do it. On lower difficulties, the AI doesn't have as many armies around. So you're kind of left in the lurch for some of these situations. Ooh, medical box. Once again, this is why I like Vampire Coast. All of them start in a position where you can just be like, yeah, I'm not gonna go where you think I'm gonna go, and just sail off. Oh, you. I was not expecting a bloodthirster, or not a bloodthirster, a skull taker. Or is it a blood drinker? I don't know. I hate corn names. Everything's a blood or skull thing. I've said it before, it's the hardest thing. Okay, skull taker, yeah. It's always so tough sometimes to remember what somebody is. Come on. Yeah. The strat worked. We can go this way. Knock out whoever's here and hopefully get some extra stuff. Yeah, I gotta say, Skarsnik has to be the toughest start. Then I would honestly say it has to be Warriors of Chaos. Because Warriors of Chaos never got any updates. I assume they're gonna get updates, probably a new Legendary Lord at some point after 3 comes out. Because they have to have a rework somewhere in the making for them. You can't tell me those guys are fine and dandy in their super weak crap state. Especially when you look at, like, Prince Sigvald. Oh, hey, he gets dirt cheap Marauders. Oh boy, Marauders. The bottom tier units you can get a free army, or effectively free. Like, no, I don't want that. They suck. You end up with the Empire rolling up with 2 mortars in an army and a bunch of garbage, and they flatten you because the AI is like, oh damn, mortars, I guess we gotta stay and get shot. Even though fighting them manually is easy and I could do it, I just get lazy. God, I'm so worried that the last fight for this segment is gonna be like the last fight from Stage 5, where it's just an immense horde, and I do not have the survivability to manage it. And that revive skill, as much as I'm like, yeah, I could just use the revive skill, it's only, I think, 1 revive per mission.
Point of entry established. Harvesting data from compromised network. Warning, hostile units inbound.
And that's not enough. If it was once every 2 minutes, sure. I can run around or I can hide for 2 minutes. But when it's just, you get 1 free revive, that is not nearly enough for me to be able to get out of some of these encounters. Especially when even, you know, bottom tier enemies like these cultists just rip through me. If I could get something to boost my shield, maybe? But I don't know if there's anything At least I haven't seen anything that's given me like extra shield. I wish there was. Cool, now I can die as many times as I want.
Sermons are now in inquisitorial custody. Praise the Omnisire.
I could make another melt-a-pistol that gives me the % chance to heal on hit. I'm gonna stall and get my time field back up so I can take on the Chaos Engine to the north. But I could do it and it's tempting, I just don't know if it's worthwhile. God, this cooldown is terrible. But yeah, Chaos has to be the second worst faction to play as. Third? Third, I would have to say it's a toss-up. It's either Imric, simply because you have to blitz Deathmaster Snitch, kill him off, then you have to deal with... no, I see, he's a bad spot because he ends up having to square off against Grimgor early on, and Grimgor just balls out of control at any stage. But High Queen Halida and Arkin are just in terrible spots. Wow, that was a lot of damage. And I think a big problem for those two is just the Tomb Kings. The Tomb Kings are such a slow faction to get rolling that it hurts to fight as them. Because like, oh yeah, your armies are free. It's like, yeah, I don't care if my armies are free. If my armies suck, I need a lot of them. If I can't have a lot of suck armies, then I'm just screwed. Pass. Hey, another challenge. Keep getting these challenges done, man. Time limit hunt. It's doable.
The enemy is here, preying on the weak and using craven tricks against the defenders of mankind. Perhaps we should find their leaders and give them a fair share of their own medicine.
I just remembered that I'm gonna have to deal with like Taloses and Kronos. But with the time slow, I should be able to handle it. But jumping back, yeah, for factions... Yeah, Tomb Kings are just... I love the Tomb Kings, but they really need more to them. Especially like Arkin. Arkin needs... He needs to be able to generate vampiric corruption, or have a bigger selection of units. Like, I think he should get skeleton spearmen and swordsmen. Probably even zombies. Just basic stuff. Because, like, hex wraiths are neat and all, but I don't really care. I don't really use Cav when I play as Tomb Kings. I just use, you know, all their giant constructs. Because, you know, a Tomb Scorpion is pretty strong. But so I just kind of struggle with that. Yeah, I really think they should be able to generate Vampire Corruption, at least for Arkin, because he gets the bonus of being able to handle it. And it's like, okay, cool, who generates Vampire Corruption around him? You got Aranessa Saltspite to the north, if she comes your direction, which she rarely does. You have the Necrarch Brotherhood. You know, if the NPC faction manages to survive long enough. And that's it. All the vampire counts are too far north for you to care. The other vampire coast are all in an area that they're preoccupied. And of course, Silostra Deerfin dies, like, turn 4. I've tried playing her, and she's not bad, but it's just, her position's rough. It's not nearly as bad, though, since you can just, you know, leave. That's what I've taken to doing. I don't even bother holding the area. I just bounce and head further south. You know, it's one of those characters where because of their nature, you can afford as Vampire Coast to just leave. Go where you want, really. I've been meaning sometime to go fight Rakarth and take Albion, just to be difficult. Because then at that point, I would control a good jumping off point in Norska, and could potentially just start throwing down against them.
Loading.
Only problem is I'm going to end up facing off against Nagarond at some point. Because that's what always happens. Even when I play as Norska, Nagarond will just be like, hey, I see you're an ocean away. I don't like that. And just declares war, and I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks, guy.
Is upon you, Zeros.
Well, the upside here is I'm managing to handle this. The time scale kinda sucks, but it's still doable. And all the summons give me a little extra time, which I appreciate. I need more big waves of Urgle Wretches. Those are easy, easy time spots. But I mean, as long as it's stuff like a Medusa who takes forever, I'm good. But the only other characters or factions in Warhammer I think that are in a bad position in the map would be like... God. Helman Gorst. I think he's in a bad spot just because he doesn't get his own faction starting point, and Manfred is such a better option. You know, it's... You feel like you're wasting a pick by choosing Helman. Even though I want to use him, I'm also like, yeah, but I could just grab Manfred. And Manfred's markedly better. You know, poison for all your units in an army is cool, but it's not that cool. Let's be real here. Come on, let's get a clean kill. Yeah!
Is measured in blood.
That's the strat. The time field. This is the best thing to have gotten. I can't believe I kept passing over this armor.
Teleport beacon in range.
I must have been actually stupid to just be like, no, that sounds like a dumb, not useful ability at all.
There's no place in our galaxy.
And that should be all 3 down. Okay, 2 of 3, and I can just clean that up. I'm actually going to use the teleport beacon to move a little faster. I was about to say, where are there 3? I only see 1, but nah, there's 1 way left. But yeah, it's just factions like that that don't get their own starting location when they really need one. Some factions were just not that good, like Tahanoin. Guys like that I kind of just picked up for the extra unit roster. Especially when it came to certain factions, like... I can't remember who it was. There was one faction I remember I picked up the unit, or like the DLC, because the units were good. The actual lord I cared nothing about. I think it was Grom the Paunch. And I know I did that for like the Warhammer 1 DLCs, because then you actually got the Regiments of Renown. And I mean, if you can put them in an army, you might as well put them in. And it's kind of a kick in the nuts to see every other faction have regiments, except you. Because then you're put, even though it's only like one unique version of some units, you're still at a disadvantage. Now that I think about it, Chaos really needs an update, because they get like 5 regiments, and that's it. Especially when you look at like Lizardmen with the Blessed Spawnings. I've rocked entire Blessed Spawning armies, and they're markedly better. I do that with Oxyodal when I can get Blessed Chameleon Skinks, because then they're just better. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I use the obviously better version of my infantry? I guess the big thing is a lot of their infantry doesn't get a Regiment of Renown because of that. But they also get, like, a Troglodon and a bigger... They get a bunch of Regiment of Renown dinosaurs. So it's like, I don't care that your infantry doesn't all get it. You have dinosaurs that can just flatten people. The Empire has that now, with their own kind of effectively Blessed Spawning kind of deal, which is pretty good. Wow. Me wow. I don't want this... I think it's a Talos to get close, because I want to be able to just... Alright, forget it. We're just going to go in and manually do it then. Come on. Drop. Ah, he's still got a bunch of health. Not what I wanted to see. Wow. Come on. Keep rolling.
Loading.
Now I have to hide and get all my stuff back. Didn't mean to put a mine there. That was my bad. It just sucks too, because I can't just sit here and hide behind cover like I do with other guys, because I know he'll just use that or use the AoE hit. but this will be a kill.
Success is measured in blood.
2 minutes though. Not a lot of time to chew through the last few areas. And I don't want to play it too risky, but I have to because of timing. Because this guy's going to give me, how much? 5 seconds? It's not a lot to work with here. And the game isn't being nice and giving me a bunch of garbage to just mulch quickly for time. I mean, that fight I still came out losing time. I have to stall for my meter, or for my time dilation. Okay, that I came out on top with. There's gonna be nothing here, but I'll grab the chest quick. Okay, so I can roll in, instantly pop this, and hope for the best. Maybe I have to just stick it out. Or it worked. Cool.
Now you can watch the body wander aimlessly until it withers and dies.
Oh, that was real close. Could have been closer, but I did not like that one. Oh, that was... Man, that was real close. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.